Okay, fine. So, hello everyone. Good evening to everyone. Hope you all are in great mood and in the pink of your health. So, let's start this session today. So, before going to the session, I would just like to do some general discussion, some questions that I want to ask all of you. So, although this is kind of a introductory thing, so at the end of the week, it's somehow not that important, but still, I think I want to discuss this. Right? So, what do you understand of this course? That algorithms? What is this? What is the kind of idea that you have about this course? What is the primary focus? What are we going to achieve by learning this course? Can someone just unmute and tell me?
To increase the efficiency of the program.
Efficiency of the program, good answer. But efficiency of the program may also be done from a system perspective, right? That you may increase the processor speed and all those things, and those things are there. So are we going to learn all those things over here?
No, sir.
Okay. So then, can you be a little more specific?
Sir, by doing some changes in our code, we can increase the efficiency of the code.
Okay. Okay. So basically, for any problem, we would try to make an approach, and then we would try to see then, okay, so how much efficient my code has become because of following this particular approach. And then deciding upon that, I would again move to maybe some other approach, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you all have done Python and CT also. So I would just like to ask you one basic idea that what is the use of data structures? Why do we have so many data structures? Obviously, in this course, we would delve into each of them in deep. We would understand the advantage, disadvantage, and all those things. But before going to that, I just want to ask that approach is okay. That as of now, we know that we would try to make our program more efficient by changing our approach, by thinking how to do that. Where does data structures come into play in this process?
Sir, to store and process the data.
To store and process the data. Okay, so how that would be advantageous for us in terms of efficiency?
Sir, each type of data structure is designed for a different task. So like in that way, depending on what data structure we are using, either it's a list or set or dictionary, like that can affect the performance.
So how we store the data on which our particular approach to that problem works. So how we store the data, that is what data structure is concerned about, and that much efficiency would be provided by the proper choice of data structure, correct?
Right, sir.
Okay. So that is the basic thing of this course. We would actually have different approaches of solving a problem. We would refine each approach. We would, first of all, we would think the easiest, naive way that comes to our mind. Then again, we would incrementally improve that. We would think of some idea so that we can get a better result in smaller time, right? We would try to do that. And in the process of improving the approach to solve the problem, we would need some tools. so that we can make our program more efficient than it was before. So those tools can be in two forms. The first form is data structures, that is you change the way in which you are storing the data which was processed in that program. And second is we would change some minor approach, some minor technique within the whole solution, right? So that is algorithms, that how you think about it. So any new technique, any new idea that to approach a problem is nothing but algorithm. Now there is a technically more sound definition to algorithms, and I mean there is a definition for that, but we would ignore that as of now. But yeah, basically this is the idea. So that was the introduction. Now you all have done basic Python coding, and since this week mainly deals with the recapitulation of Python and a little bit about the timing, that why in the first place we need to discuss about timing, right? So this is the last question from that point of view, and then we will move to the coding. So timing, in the lecture sir has explained that why it is important to time our code, why it is important to understand that which one is working faster, which approach is okay. But my question is, what is the metric over here? I mean, let's say I write a code and run it on my machine, and then on the same code I run it on a supercomputer. Obviously it would give me better performance. So how do I judge a single program, because I can run it on different platforms and it would give me different result depending upon the speed of that system? So how do we judge that? Basically,
Sir,
I mean, in detail we will
like-
learn it in the next week, but basic, whatever you think you can answer. Yeah.
Sir, we judge depending on how many operations are required for that. Like different computers may perform different operations per second, but the number of operations a program requires will be the basic thing we'll look after.
Number of operations.
And we also consider that a computer is an ideal one, not a supercomputer, not a slower one.
What is the definition of ideal in this case? I mean,
Ideal means like all the companies which all the companies which they are preferring, the computers they are preferring, the CPUs, the speed they are preferring.
okay. So let's say one code I write and I run it on a CPU which has suppose say 2.3 gigahertz of clock speed, and another CPU maybe it is also in the same range, but a company provides it around 3 gigahertz clock speed. Now some clock cycles, obviously the 3 gigahertz clock speed CPU would give me better result, right? At least for some time, some clock cycles. So how again you would run into the same issue, right? That whether which code is better.
Sir,
Sir, the basic fundamental is the operations only, the number of operations.
Exactly. Correct. So that is the end. I mean, you cannot have, I mean, tell that okay, we would only consider a specific configuration. That is not, we will that we would not tell. Always everything you would state that number of operation and that's it, full stop, right? So always the number of operation, that is the metric with which we would judge. Yeah, you are going to say something, someone was going to say, go ahead.
yes, sir. But the speed might not depend on upon the computer, but it can depend upon the language, na, sir.
Exactly. Correct.
Like Python, it does only 10⁷ per second calculations.
Correct. So that was my next question. Now machine is over. Okay. Now number of operation we are thinking, but what about language then? Algorithm can be written in multiple languages. In this course, our main motive is to discuss the approach of solving problem by learning different algorithms. And see, algorithm is nothing to learn. It's, I mean, every basic things are fine. You have to understand the basic, I would say the basic skeleton system of approaching a problem by understanding different types of algorithm. But in real world, when you want to develop something, you always have to see a new problem, and then depending upon that, you have to think of a way you would like to approach the problem in an efficient manner. So there is no fixed algorithm for a particular problem. This course main motive is to give or inculcate the different ideas of how you can approach to solve a problem. So language is the last factor essential in the course. Obviously, we are using Python because you all are quite comfortable with Python. But main idea is algorithm, and you would see most of the questions also we would try to mainly focus on the conceptual parts of algorithm. Fine. So the next thing comes that, as you said rightly, Python can do around 10 to the power 7 operations per second. Some low level language like C++ or C can do it much faster. So then how do you judge? But the question is, if you consider the number of operations, does it really matter which language you use?
No, sir. Actually, it doesn't matter. Basically, if we talk about like professor has taken the example in the lecture also that Aadhaar card and SIM problem.
Yeah.
So number of operations, like in decreasing or increasing the number of operations, that is in our hand. But if we talk about the language, that is beyond our control. So if we can increase the those factors, those operations, then definitely we are basically increasing the time. Like it might be slightly different for some programming language, like you mentioned for C and C++, it may be slightly faster, but it will make difference at very high level.
Exactly. So each operation, maybe a particular operation Python would take a little more time than same operation being executed in, written in C++. But one thing that would be invariant in both the cases, the number of times that operation is happening, and that would only and only depend on the algorithm that you are using, right? So we eliminated two major factors by choosing a metric which is the number of operations, right? These two major factors are system dependency and language dependency. Fine. And in more detail, we would learn this. Sir would teach all of us in the next week, right? When we will move to asymptotic complexity and all those topics. Many of you are quite familiar with that also, I suppose. So in the next week, we would learn that, but this is the core idea. This is the basic foundation, that why are we going to time the algorithm on the basis of number of operation? And the advantage of that being, we can eliminate the dependency on language as well as platform. Okay. Yeah, so that was the basic thing. Now, anyone wants to say anything, or we will move to the coding part?
Sir, like you said, depending on language, the time taken, the number of operations per second, like that can vary. So what would be the best in this? Is it machine code, like directly typing in machine code? Would it be the best of performance?
See, in life, you always have to do trade-off, right? you cannot always take the best in any case, because one thing which is best in a way would be worst in the other way. So when you are writing, code, if you can write it in the form of zeros and one, then that would be fastest, because that would directly go into the electronics, right? So your 0 and 1 would be directly converted into on-off state of transistor, which is ultimately the basic unit of your processor, right? And that would work. So that would be fastest. But can you imagine writing a code of complex, let's say, not even complex, even simple code, if you write in zeros and one, that is not possible. It is very difficult. So
like here, by choosing a language like Python, we are sacrificing that efficiency for convenience, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now I was going to talk about that. So the next level we go is for assembly language. Now that is not what we would discuss here, but assembly language is just a wrapper on that. That it is also very difficult to understand, very difficult to write, but at least it's not zeros and one. It is a halfway between a modern programming language and the machine language, right? Assembly language. Now assembly language is it's still very difficult, so we move to language which are C, C++, those kind of languages that are much more closer to the system, and the system executes these language much faster. But again, C, C++, one code, or Java, let's say Java is a bit higher in the hierarchy, but let's say these languages, if you write a code and same code if you write in Python, there would be a huge difference in the number of lines that you write, and practical complexity and all those things. So Python abstracts away a lot of system dependent concrete syntax and rules that you do not have to worry about while learning algorithm, or while doing any task in which you do not have to learn about the system dependencies, right? You want to develop a machine learning algorithm, you do not have to learn about the basic computer organization architectures involved, right? So that's why Python abstracts away all these things. But whenever you are going into real life situation where you are creating a software, now that software would be deployed on a or let's say a hardware. That hardware is basically some chip or some microprocessor or something like that, right? In those scenarios, every time it would be ported into a more system, a language which is more closer to the system, like C, right, or C++ or assembly language. But when you are thinking about the algorithm, when you are making the idea how to approach a problem, then I don't want to bother myself with all the system complexities. I just want to think about the logic to solve the problem. So in that situation, Python is very much helpful, that you can abstract away, ignore all those things as of now. But in real life, when you would move into industry and work there, you would see that, okay, Python is used at a huge level, but in some respects, when you are deploying things on hardware where it needs to be working on a very fast basis, some ASIC circuit or something like that, then many a times it is converted into another low level language. Not many a times, always it happens, but sometimes it is done by in a mechanism that you only have to do. Sometimes it is done by an internal mechanism, just like Raspberry Pi. Right, Raspberry Pi you are using now, it has internal system that changes the code you write in Python into something much closer to the system. So you are writing in Python only, but that is converted. So these things happen. We would not go into those things, but this is how the things happen. So end of the day, in nutshell, what our idea is, in order to abstract away all the system related complexities, we are using Python to just focus on the conceptual understanding of the algorithms. Right. So that is the fine. So now let's, I have shared one link in the chat, a Replit link. You all can go to that link, and I would publish one problem, read the problem statement. So how many, you all have used the Replit, right, previously? Or are you all doing it for the first time?
Yes, sir, we have used it.
Okay, Kanishk and Bhavya. So first Bhavya, go ahead. You want to say something?
Sir, could you please put the link in the chat box again?
Okay. Yeah, Kanishk, you want to say something?
Nothing, sir. I just raised hand just for the sake of my lab. I have used Replits.
Okay. Okay. So Abhishek and Srutanu, can you?
Actually, I just wanted to ask one basic question. I don't know. I think I should not ask at this point. But let me ask. When I write print hello world in the Python or any compiler, will the compiler convert it into 0 and 1 form?
There is a lot other processes involved, but yeah, you can say that ultimately it could convert it into 0 and 1. But see, not only compiler, there are multiple things involved here, right? On a package basis, if you want to say, I would say, okay, yeah, you are correct. Compiler actually converts it into 0 and 1, but technically not only compiler, there are some other modules also involved in the process while of converting your code into 0 and 1. Right? So there are linkers, there are loaders, there is a lot of things that is going on. Yeah, but ultimately it would be converted into 0 and 1. Correct. Yeah, Abhishek, this was Abhishek, right? So Srutani?
Yes, I just wanted to ask, sir, what is the difference between a compiler and an interpreter?
The difference between compiler and interpreter. Okay. So let us do the coding first, okay, Srutani, because this would take some time.
Okay.
At first, we would complete this. At the end of the session, if we have time, then we would discuss. Otherwise, I would request you to make a Discord post. Okay, I would answer there.
Okay, sir.
Right. Since this is a little bit out of the context, right? That's why.
Okay.
So yeah, sure. But I would obviously answer that if time permits at the end of the session or on Discourse for sure. Correct.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody got the link, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I would request all of you to just refresh your screen. You would see one problem. Is it coming? Did it come?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I would share the screen. Wait. Okay, so you all go to this problem 1.md. Fine. So this is the problem statement. Okay. So I request all of you to read it and try to code it. Right? We would wait for some time, and then I would discuss this question. If you have any doubt in understanding the statement or any general doubt, you can ask. So you have to go to main.py, right? You all must be familiar with this course, is what I suppose. Sorry, not this course, it's Replit. After you read the statement, go to this main.py, and now here you have to write your code. Fine. Once it is done, then you have to go to these tests on the left side, right? And then click on run tests. So if these 4 tests pass, then you are good to submit your code. My screen is visible, right? I was filling for so long. Anyone has doubt in understanding this question? I mean, you all got what we want, right? So basically, if you have a number and that number can be expressed in the form of p into q, that is two multiplication of two numbers, provided these two numbers are prime, right? Then only you will return true.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, the name of the function is different in the suffix code and the problem. Can you please check?
Sorry, I did not get. Can you repeat?
Sir, the name of the function prime product is different in the code and the problem statement, in the suffix code and the problem statement.
Oh, acha. Okay, that underscore is there. Na? Yeah, you can ignore that then. Okay, so
Okay,
in the
sir.
suffix code, whatever is there, you can write accordingly. Yeah, we would wait for 5 more minutes and then we would start discussing this. So everyone, all of you should try, huh? At least, I mean, this program is very easy, so it should not take so much long. But at least if some of you are facing a little bit difficult, it's totally fine, no issues. I mean, more you code, it could be easy for you in the next time. So, but at least you should try. Right? So we would still wait 5 more minutes. Please try it.
Sir, I have written the code how to run it.
You
Where is
can,
the test code?
yeah. You can just
Where is
do
the test
this.
code?
Yeah. You click on this arrow in the left hand side, right? You can see this, right? This arrow. Sorry, not arrow. The tick mark. Sorry. So click on
Yes,
this
sir.
tick mark and then just click on run tests. So if
Okay.
all this 4 comes in green color or passed or something like that, then it is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. In the meantime, let me check few submissions. Okay, so if I see some correct submissions, I would randomly pick one, and then I would ask him or her to explain, and then we would discuss.
Hello, sir. I have written the code where I need to show it.
Sorry, I can't hear you properly. There is a lag in your voice. What did you say?
Actually, I have written the code, so where I need to push it.
Where you have to check it whether it's correct or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I said no. Just go over here in the tests, the tick mark.
Okay.
Yeah, click over there, and then this thing would come, run tests. Fine, just click on run test and it would run all the test cases.
Sir, are we coding on course page or through Replit?
I did not get what are you asking?
Sir, on course page of PDSA, the same problems are given.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that on course page of PDSA, the same all the problems are given.
Yes, so
that we would discuss today. You whatever you want you can do, but I would request you to do it in Replit, and the course page submission would be open till the end of the month. I mean till the end of May. Yeah. So you can submit over there anytime. Now you should do on Replit only.
sir, Replit link is not given.
Now in the chat I have given.
Okay, sorry.
Just check the chat. In the chat I have given. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this link is not working actually.
Okay, is it? Wait.
Yeah.
PDSM 2020 has no repels yet.
Just a minute,
Yeah, now it's showing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so any volunteers? Someone wants to explain? Pretty easy thing, but still. Hello? Who?
Actually, sir, I have created a function define as prime product, taking an input m. So I imported mathematics module t equal to math dot square root of m. That's my taking function. So I have created a flag x equal to false for, and I have taken a range for loop for I in range of prime to t.
Just
That
a
is,
second. Can you tell your name? I mean, I am sharing my screen now, so I can't see who is speaking.
okay. Can I share my screen, sir?
No, can you tell the name? I mean, you just tell me your name.
Kunal Kumar.
Okay, fine.
So I'm taking the range from 2 to the number, the square root of that number, and creating a flag, and that is flag is false. And I'm taking if function. So if a number percentage I not equal to 0, and again a loop function, that is if number divided by I percentage I not equal to 0, return true else flag.
Kunal, just do one submission. You have not submitted, right? Just even if it's incomplete, just submit the code and then you continue writing. Submit once, then we would see that. Yeah, I think someone raised hand. Just a second. Gagnit, go ahead. You want to ask something?
I was actually about to explain the code.
Okay, go ahead, please. Just a minute. I would share your screen. Just a second. I mean, your REPL.
Yeah, so basically, first I found out the factors of the number given. And then I created a list of that factors, and obviously the list will be empty. So it means it's not a prime product, right? So I created that like if factors are not factors is not equal to like empty list, only then we'll check that if it's a prime product or not, because we need two numbers P and Q.
You are doing from 1 to m, you are doing, right? And then you are dividing it by I. So there would be two values would be there, right? So the number and the value itself, m. Correct?
What exactly did you ask? I didn't understand.
Yeah, wait a minute. So you just calling n. So the number m, whatever you are passing, you are running the for loop from 1 to m. Done. So you are then doing the m% I equal to 0. So for two values, even if it is prime, there would be two values in that list, right? The number itself and one.
One will be there. Number won't be there.
It's an m minus. Oh, sorry. It would not go there. Yeah, one would be there. Then after that.
Yeah. So now I will check. Okay, sorry. I wrote 2 in my. I was writing in the portal also. So it should be 2 comma m. 2 comma m. Yeah, I changed it actually. I was doing in Visual Studio also. Sorry, 2 comma m. So now factors will be there.
Yeah.
In the factors list. Now in the particular factor list, like in the next block of my code, I checked whether those factors are prime or not. If any of the factor came out to be, like composite number, so flag becomes false and it will change to false. Like it will return false.
Yeah, so basically you are storing the factors and then running two for loops to check that primeness, right?
Yes.
Okay. So did you check all the possible conditions, the test cases?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So basically what you have to do is check whether a number is a factor or not. Obviously, if it is a factor, then it would be some multiple times equal to that number. Again, we have to check whether that number itself is prime or not. That's it.
Yes.
Simple thing.
Yes.
Run a loop.
Yes.
Check whether it's a factor. If it is a factor, that means if let's say that factor is x, so it would be something x into y equal to that number, correct? Then you have to check whether x is also prime and y is also prime. That's it. Simple thing. You could have also done it directly without keeping it in list and all. Yeah. Someone wants to say?
Yes, sir. I'm Harish Mithabara.
Yeah, please.
What if just we check that there are a total 4 factors only, so that in that a condition 2 factors will be 1 and the number itself, right? And the other 2 will be the prime factors, I guess.
No, I'm not getting. Wait a minute. So wait.
So like the prime product, if there are more than 4 factors, then that would be like not possible, right?
If there are more than 4 factors.
Yes, sir. So if it is a prime product, there are like only 4 products. The 1, the number itself, and the 2 prime products, right?
Yeah, see, there can be multiple factors of a number. Now, many factors of them can also be a prime number. So that is correct. But I'm not asking whether there is no other possibility. What we are asking over here is whether that other multiple is also prime or not, whichever factor you're considering.
Yeah, so we take out the factors and then check if the factors are prime or not, right?
Yeah, you can do that. But only thing is, if you see, once you keep all the factors in one list and then again compare, then you also have to consider while comparing that the current factor which you are considering now for prime checking, whether that is the corresponding factor with the other number or not, right? So what would be a much more easier approach is, I got your point, but what would be a more easier approach is, wait just a second, let me do it over here. I would just discuss the pseudo code. So you run a loop, right? I'm not writing up to n, 1 to n, right? Next thing is you check whether that number is divisible by I, right? For I in 1 to n, whatever.
Yes, sir.
Right, equal to 0. Now see, if n% I equal to 0, here is a if condition, right? So obviously I into something is n, right? What I want to check is whether that I into that thing, whether that is also a prime or not. So you can check it directly over here. Na?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Correct. You do not have to complexify the thing. Just simply n% I equal to 0. If it is so, then what you can check is if in the inside over here, if I is prime, what is the name of that function? Whatever. What you have to do is if is prime I and is prime n by I. Getting that's it.
Yes, I got it, sir. Thank you.
Fine.
Can you please check my script? So I just opened in the same way.
Sorry, I would request anyone who is speaking, please speak your name first. I cannot see who is speaking.
My name is Secretary. Sure.
Okay.
I just written the script with the 2 functions.
Okay.
And you just explain. So you can just open that script.
Can you write your name in the chat once? It would be easier for me to search that way.
Century, CHENCHIRE.
Yeah, can I ask one question?
Please go ahead.
It's a question for beginners. I'm not good in coding, but I want to understand certain thing.
Yeah.
So one is about the previous someone was showing using the flag thing, right? Flag concept.
Fine.
So I want to understand in which scenario you should use flag concept.
See, flag is what? Flag is just a variable. You are using it as a variable name. That's it. Now, what is the meaning of flag? See, in programming, we have some conventions of giving some names to variable so that a person who is seeing the code for first time, some other person who has not written that code, if he sees that particular name now, then he would understand that this variable serves a specific purpose just by seeing the name. He do not have to check the whole code. So flag is just a name for any variable which can store values, which can store a binary kind of value. That is, either it would be set to on or off, 1 or 0, true or false, something like this. There is only possible two states. If a flag is some value, then it means some specific thing is happening. If the flag is the other value, then it means the other thing is happening. Now, in case of prime, what you can do is, let's say you want to check whether a specific number is prime or not, and on the basis of that, you want to proceed further in the code. So you can keep if is prime I. If that returns true, then you simply set flag equal to 1 or flag equal to true or whatever. So flag is just a variable. Only thing is, it is used to maintain the states in true or false manner, to indicate you that there is only two possibilities. That's it. It's as good as a simple variable. Now, if you want to understand it in terms of specifically this question, I mean, you can anywhere use a flag like that. I mean, let's say over here you write I mean, it's a general concept. Anyway is possible. I'm just writing something. If is prime is true, you set flag equal to 1. Or flag equal to true or anything, whatever. Fine. And then you can just check another thing. I mean, it's not logical very much, but yeah, if flag equal to 1, then you do something, else you do something. It's just a decision variable. That's it. There is no very complex concept in flag. Yeah, so we'll go back to this code which you wanted to discuss, right, Mr. Reddy?
Yep, yeah, this is the code.
Yeah.
And do you want me to go through this code, or it's a similar one?
Yeah, same concept. So you run a loop, right? You check whether it is equal to 0 or not. If it is so, then it is the first factor, and it is the other multiple n by I. So you check whether both of them are prime or not. So you are returning 1 if it is prime. One thing is, can you tell me how can you do it in a better way? Only this part, the highlighted part. I mean, how can you
square root of v plus 1?
Square root, correct? Square root. Now, can you explain why square root?
Because if the square root itself is a factor of v, square root times the square root. So there must, if there is a square root, there is a factor between the number 2 and a square root, there must be a factor above it. So that's why we are using the square root of that number plus 1 to include that square root also.
So actually, square root is the point where both the factors of any number are, one is less than a square root and one is greater than square root. The square root is that meeting point.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Very good. See, the main idea is in why we go to square root is, so this we have discussed this on discourse also. So the mathematical proof, right? Mathematical way of saying this is, every time you take any number and consider all the factors starting from, I mean, the lower value, let's say 16, right? So 1 into 16. Then what I can do, 2 into 8, 3 is not a factor, 4 into 4, right? 5 is not a factor, so I cannot go for 5. 6 can I go? No. 7 can I go? No. 8 can I go? Yeah. 8 into 2. 9 is also not, 10 is also not, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No one is a factor until it's going for 16. Now you see this thing, right? 1 into 2 in the first half, 2 in here it's in the second half the same number. And again here the second set of factor is just repeated in the first set over here. Right? So only this is the point where if I consider the first set as A and if I consider the second set as B, so A gradually increases and B gradually decreases. At the midpoint, it is equal. So if I say you initially whatever factor is there, that is only repeated in the second half, which is after both A and B is same. So you only need to check in the first half, right? Because the same factors would be just swapped away and checked in the next half. Correct? So you can check only in the first half when both the factors become equal. Right? So many of you who are in who are from science background, you would know that in many graph analysis where the graph is like this or like this, provided this is symmetrical, right? Many analysis we only do on the half, on one half, and then we say that this is satisfied by symmetry, something like that, right? So you do not have to go for the other half if exactly it is same. Fine. So that is the intuitive idea, but anyways, if you run it till square root, then it would give you a good result. Fine. So this question is okay. We have discussed this. Quite easy question. Next. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that, sir, but the first factor I got, so the next factor, next prime factor, how am I supposed to get that?
Next prime factor means, sorry, I did not get.
So we are supposed to find P and Q, like both are prime factors of the number n, right, sir?
Yeah.
So I got the P, and how am I supposed to get the Q?
Q is what? Q is just the multiple, right? I mean, see, what is Q? Q is just the multiple. Just a second. A into B. I would move a bit slow on these concepts in the initial days, because let's everyone be at the same level, and then we would do it faster as we move in the more complex topics. So those all of you who have done the code and want to proceed further, fine. So I would just publish all the codes and you all can start writing the next questions if you want. So just a second, I would just publish the other codes. I mean other problems.
Excuse me, sir.
Just a second, give me a minute. Okay, so I have published 3 problems. Those all of you have done the first problem. You all can go to problem 2, 3, and 4, whichever you like. Start coding. Okay, so let me just finish this. So A is the first factor, and let's say P is the number which we are considering now. Now, if what you have to do is check whether A is a factor or not. Simply run a loop. Over here I, right? Over here I. Simply run a loop and check whether A is a factor or not. If A is a factor, then you have to check whether A is prime or not. And if A is prime, then you also have to check whether B is prime or not. So you are saying you have found the first factor, how to find the second one? Just substitute now, P equal to, if A into B, what is B? P by A. So that's what we are checking over here. If n% I equal to 0 and n by I, oh, sorry, just a second, not there, over here. If is prime I and is prime n by I, that's it. This is your other factor. You have to find the multiple, right? So that's it. Okay, fine. So let's go to the other question. All of you have done. You can move to the next question. Yeah, so this is your next question. Yeah, Vatsal, you want to say something? Sorry, I did not see you.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I want to ask that, sir, you have told the concept of square roots. So for that, we need to run the loop till 2 to the square root of that particular product.
Yeah.
So by that, by this, we can save time. I mean,
By
time
this?
can we save time?
Yeah, you can save time. I mean, very much, right? It's a quadratic increase in performance. So let's say if you run it normally, right, 2 to m minus 1 or whatever n minus 1. So how many iterations are you doing? How many of you told that we would only consider iterations as the metric of measuring performance? So how many iterations are you doing when you are running your loop from 2 to m? I mean range m, that is m minus 1. So 2 to m minus 1. So many iterations you are doing, right? So if you exactly calculate it, it would be m minus 1 minus 2 plus 1. So that would be m minus 2 of iterations you are doing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now in when you are running up to square root, how many you are doing? You are only doing up to square root of, square root of m minus 1.
Yes, sir.
Now which one is greater? It's very much efficient, right? So if you just take a number and calculate it, just take any number and see. So let's take a bigger number to understand the difference. So let's say I want to check the same question and your input n is equal to, let's say, 625.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, but to interrupt, but can you check my last submission of the problem 1? I'm
Okay.
Harsh Mitapara.
Okay. Wait.
My method is a little different, but it passed all tests.
Fine. I mean, great.
It's way simpler, like very simple method. Is it to understand? But
See, the motive of this code is not to make easy to understand code, but faster code. So yeah, I am just checking. Just a minute. But there is not something complex in this code, so anyways, it should be fine.
Excuse me, sir. How to reach the second problem? How to reach the second problem?
You can go to the same chat link. I mean, the link that I gave you, this link in the chat, and there you can just refresh your page. You would see the second problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Harsh, just a second. Let me just finish this small demonstration. So who was asking that number of iteration improvements? If you have n equal to 625, your n minus 2 would be only 623. What would be the value of this?
25.
Right, even it would be actually minus 1, so 24.
24.
See? So see the difference. Now, as more and more you actually increase the value of n, you would see a proper difference. If you draw it in the form of graph, your n minus 2 would be something like this, right? And your square root function would be the square root function, which is it would decrease. Let's say, so if this is 2, right? So your square root function would actually decrease by amount, by quadratic amount. So if it is decreasing by quadratic amount, that means you can say that it is increasing by square root amount, correctly? So this is square root, right? So that means what? It is increasing, the function is increasing, the growth function is in square root. Or if you say it other way, that the performance is decreased by a factor of square or quadratic. We would discuss these things in the next week and it would be much more clearer to you. So here it is not decreasing by n, it's a linear function. But here it is decreased by a quadratic amount. The reason for that, it is a square root function. So it is increasing by square root, but decreasing in the other way to say this is it is decreasing as compared to a linear function in a quadratic manner. Right? Because any linear function, if you go if you do half, then only that is equal to your square root, right? And if you square the whole thing, then you would get the normal length. So that means what? Anything which I say is increasing in the way of square root, it is decreased. The other way of saying it is it's decreasing at a rate of quadratic rate, right? So obviously here you are getting a quadratic improvement. So it's a great improvement. Yeah, so your code that you are saying, right? Now I would check that. In the meantime, others can complete the second program.
Sir, did you ask something about second program?
Did I?
Did you ask anything about second program now, just now? What did
No,
you
I
say?
did not ask. I told that you all can code that. Start coding.
Okay.
Sir, will you please share that link as I joined just now?
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think it's in the chat now. You can find it in the chat.
No. Sir, I'm not able to find.
Sir, older chats are not visible if someone joins
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Oh, acha, okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, you can see I just posted it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, so who said that that code, right? That easy code? I forgot. Someone said na that I have made a different approach.
It was me, Harsh Mithabara.
Harsh, yeah. Sorry, just a second. I think I had already opened your tab somewhere. Okay, yeah, got it. So, acha, okay, fine. Yeah, Harsh, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, it's totally fine. See, I think this is direct derived from fundamental theorem of arithmetic, that you can exactly make any number into prime numbers, multiplication, and if that is equal to 4, that means there are two factors, and obviously that can only be possible if the other two, which is the multiple correspondingly, that is
Yes,
also
sir.
prime.
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Exactly. So okay, so let others do the second problem. I would also like to discuss this approach, or maybe you can also tell whatever. Let's wait for 2 minutes, then we would discuss this. So let me ask this: did you all learn arithmetic in the basic? I mean, the foundation courses. Some, I mean, prime numbers, number theory, all these things. Have you all learned as a part of the Maths 1 or Maths 2 courses?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so are you aware of fundamental theorem of arithmetic? I mean, the name might be unfamiliar, but it's quite okay. Anyways, we will discuss that a little bit. So I think that is required.
It's part of the 10th grade curriculum, so most of us would already know that you mentioned.
Sorry, Zinat, I could not hear you clearly. Can you repeat, please?
The fundamental theorem of arithmetic that you mentioned, it's part of the 10th grade curriculum as well. Most of us would already know it.
Okay, fine. Okay, so just after 1 minute, we will discuss this second problem. Okay, so this is quite easy, super easy question. I mean, we may not have to do a proper discussion for this also. What you have to do is simply run a loop, right? And check whether each character is equal to the given character or not. If it is not equal, then you simply add that. Otherwise, you just move to the next character. So what I mean is, so basically, you have a number in the sorry, not a number. You have a input C and input S, right? And you are giving that to the function del char, which is delete char. So let's define the function del char. Fine. The same name. Now, first thing is I have to check whether the substring, right? That part which we have to check, the C character, right? If that is of length 1 or not. See, C has length. Yeah, you want to say something? Someone just unmuted. Okay, anyways. So just you have to check whether the length of that is equal to 1 or not. If it is 1, then only you would proceed. Otherwise, you would not proceed. So you would just, if length C equal to 1, then only I would proceed. What I have to do is simply I have to make the string by checking whether it is equal to the I mean whether that each character in the string is not equal to the C character, correct? So at first let's do that. So let's run a for loop, right? For suppose ch in the my string, right? If I do ch not equal to the character which I want. And what I would do is I will simply add it to the current string. So let's have a string over here. Done. And that's it, simple code, no issues. And then you have to return it obviously, and else you have to return the false value. Yep, someone wants to say something?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So can we use replace function of Python as well?
See, you can use Python gives you a hell lot of package to do a lot of things. You can use that, but I would request all of you in the initial coding, try to do every logic by on your own. Because some other language, if you have to use, this is easy, but let's say some logic, some function is not there in another programming language. So you'd have to hard code that.
Oh.
Right?
Okay,
so
sir.
try to use everything. I mean, you have loops and data structures and if condition. Try to do those things in the initial stage. Later, when you are writing complex code, you can use things like that. Right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can we do it without using any extra space?
Without using any?
Extra space like string variable.
I did not. Acha, you want to say that whether you can do that on the same variable or not? I mean, in place change. Yeah, you can think about that. If you want to do that, then you have to do it in the way. So parse through the same string and check whether it is same or not. But again, then the problem is ultimately strings are immutable. I hope you know that in Python, right?
Yes, sir.
So what you are thinking that you are actually not changing the string and doing it in the same place, but every time you make some changes, it is actually internally again a new string is created. So
sir, like I am using slicing. In that slicing, the same string will be used, no?
No. What I'm saying is you can use slicing, but internally what happens? Are you sure that it is in the same memory? Do you think that?
Sir, I am not sure, but like I am doing for I in something range like this and string 0 to I plus 1 to follow on.
No issues. You can do that. Follow on. You can check whether it is equal to S. If it is so, you can remove that and keep the all things same, right? No issues. But the problem there is. Yeah, you want to say something?
Sir, you sir.
No, go ahead. Tell. I want to just get the doubt. Yeah.
Sir, the thing is, slicing uses extra string.
Okay. Yeah. Tell. What is your argument? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sir, I am asking you, does slicing takes extra string?
Yeah, every time you make a change in the string, internally it is immutable. So a change happens in internally. You are not making any another variable, but internally due to immutability of string that happens.
So actually slicing copies the main string and does it in the another string, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So every time you do a change using slicing, right? So here we are using a separate variable. So that is as good as just taking another space. Now you said that if you want to do it in place, if we do slicing? So yeah, then you are not defining a separate string, but the problem is slicing internally actually will make one string whenever you make some change because of immutability of string. But you can do that, no issues. Yeah.
So in no way we can do it without using any extra space.
So see, if you say it in Python, I am not sure about that because of this immutability property. But if you use language like C, then every string is basically an array of character, and there is no concept of that immutability or anything. It's just a memory location where a value is stored. So in C language, if you just run a loop and check whether it is equal to the character which should not be present in the string, right? Okay. And then you just remove that. So that thing can be done. So it would be in the same space. You can say it would be still, I mean, in place.
Okay.
But in Python, I'm not quite sure. In Java also, so in Java, there is a specific way. Java also strings are immutable. But there is a feature to, I mean, keep strings mutable. There is a specific feature you can use that, and then you can make all the changes without creating a separate space. But in Python, I'm not sure about that. I also have to check whether there is some that way or not.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Fine. Let us go through one or two. Okay, let's not go through submission. This is very easy. So, third question. Third question. Wait. Has anyone submitted the third one?
Yes, sir, I have submitted.
Yeah,
Can
okay,
you please
got
check?
Okay, got it. This is also again simple question, nothing very difficult. Okay, so I am just randomly picking one name. Right, I'm not check the correctness of the code, so let's check the correctness first. Okay, fine. So what this question is asking, you have to list L1, L2. You have to make take one element from each and append it. Right. At last, when let's say there are different number of elements, only catch over here is that you have to think is if there are different number of elements in either one of in both the list, then you have to obviously if you are taking one from here and one from there, then obviously that would continue till any one of the list exhausts first, right? And obviously the smaller list would exhaust first. So that appending one by one, basically this line in the code, this append, these two appends, L1 append and L2 append. These two lines can only go up to the point where it is minimum, right? When either of the list is over. So this point is actually important. Minimum x equal to, minimum of L1 or L2, whichever it is, you take that into x and run the loop up to x. Now, once x is over, what can happen? Either L1 can be larger or L2 can be larger, or both of them could have been same length. If both of them could have been same length, then this loop only would do your work. You do not have to do other things. But if it is the other way, then you have to add the elements of the other list which are left over. That is the list which was greater in size. The list which was greater in size, those elements would be still left, right? Because we are running the loop only up to the minimum value. So those things you have to add. That's what it is checked. If else if length 1 is not equal to L2, you do that. Length 1 is greater than L2, you do that. Simply that. That's the idea. Anybody wants explanation? Then I would do the explanation for this code. Otherwise, it's.
Sir, can you check my code once?
Abhinav. Yeah. Okay, so in Python, did you all learn about queue and stack? I mean, as a part of the course?
No, not till now.
Yeah, so Abhinav, I don't want to discuss this then.
Okay.
Got it? We would discuss this, I mean, as soon as we learn about stack and queue, then we would discuss, right?
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so Vatsal, you want to ask something? Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you check my code? Sir,
Third one?
Sir, yes, sir, third one. I pasted in chat box.
I mean, I'm just going to the REPL. It's the same code, right?
Sir, I cannot see.
No, I have not presented it. I'm just. Okay, it looks a bit big. I don't know. Let me check.
No, sir, no.
Is it the code that you want to discuss?
The question is same, but sir, the code is not mine.
You are Vatsal, right?
No, sir. My name is Sanjeev Kumar Yadav.
Okay, wait. I think Vatsal raised hand. That's why I thought Vatsal was speaking.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sir, here we have to make it in ascending order also.
Sorry?
Sir, in order, ascending order.
Ascending order, which question?
I mean, in this question only, can we do it like that? If we append two lists and then we make it in ascending order, then it will be fine.
No, so see, if you see this, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's coming over here. If you take this example, 0, 1 and then 2, 4. Why 2, 4? Because these two are contiguously located, right? So you have to maintain that order. It may not be always in ascending order. Is the question asking you to do it in any specific order? List containing L1, first element, second element, then the second element, and so on. If the two lists are not equal, then the remaining length or longer list are appended at the appended. Appended meaning you should maintain the order. It should be in the same order in the way it is in the list. Now here in the example, sample input, everything is in ascending order, but that may not be always true. We can replace this 4 2, swap this 4 2, 0 4 2. Then your result would be 0 1 4 2. Right? It should be in the order in which it is given in the first list or second list, whichever.
I asked about seeing that output that.
Yeah, I got it, but yeah, that's because of the sample inputs are looks in sorted order. Yeah, Sanjeev, I can't see your submission. I mean, can you resubmit the code once? Problem 3.
Okay, sir. Sir, I pasted.
You have pasted. I mean, have you submitted on REPL?
No, sir. I pasted on chat box, sir. How can I, sir, paste on Replit?
Okay, you are not on Replit then. Okay, just wait. I should find a better way to share the code rather than this chat. Yeah, you can go in the link that I just messaged. Over there, go to problem 3 and then submit your code.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
So I'm requesting all of you who are, I see some codes in the chat box. If you have not submitted in REPL, then please do that first. And then you can, if some of you are not on REPL, could not reach there, I have again pasted the link. Go to the REPL and submit it first, because this chat would be over as soon as the meet is over, but the REPL data would be there. Fine. So yeah. Yeah, so similar approach, no issues, same thing, L1, L2, easy question. Now, let's
Sir,
move. Hello? Yeah?
I Sanjay sir pasted here, sir, in Replit.
Have you submitted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wait. Okay, so is this your code?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay.
I want to solve this by try and accept function.
Why are you going for max?
Sir, length, sir. Not necessary if we can take anything, sir. I think max, if then it will class, sir. Then we can use try function. I'm using because, sir, if when the max think that L1 is higher than L2, then L dot append on second line, it will not accept it, then it will go to accept part and then it will go through that code, sir.
Okay. So in the, but when it is the other way around, what will happen then?
Then
it would.
Then it will, I think.
If you are going up to max, right? Then the other, see, that's why this is also, see, if you are going, if other thing happens now, then the last elements would not be appended. That would be lost. So if you check the, I think that would happen. Just okay. So if you check the case over here, what's happening? See. You are adding, there is some issue. I think you are adding it multiple times because of the except. You have to check that. Wait.
So in except parts, you can see, sir, I adding L dot append 2 times. So you can see.
Yeah, so try, then again it is failing, and then it is again added over here. Yeah. So you mean, I mean, yeah.
Yes, sir. You can erase the if else part. It did not making any sense, sir. Both the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, but you may not do it. I mean, you can simply just add, simply take the minimum value, add it, and then whatever is left, copy paste it. So styling of coding is it's also very important. How you code it in a specific manner. So you can delete this. If length is greater than you are doing max, then you are trying. If it's appended, yeah. So yeah, see, I think in the lectures are also explained this, that exception is not a feature. You're trying to use exception over here as a feature.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
so don't use that. It's a bad way of coding. You would run into problems that you would not understand why happening. Exception is something, I mean, either if it is generating because of some part of the code, then you want it as a documentation that, okay, this problem is getting generated because of this, right? In order to identify a problem in a specific part of the code, exceptions are used. Exception handling is used, right? Exceptions are not used, exceptions are generated. But here you are trying to use exception like a if-else statement. That is, this happens, right? So never do that. You would run into issues that you would not able to understand sometimes. It would take some time. Right. So yeah, so it's a bad practice. Yeah, but I think if you remove this else and modify the code a little bit, you have to think. I need to think what is the condition. Then I think it would work. But I'm discouraging you to use exception as a.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I will not use.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, the fourth question, did I make it public? Wait. Yeah, fourth question was also public. Anyone has doubt in this question? Should I again? I mean, there is no.
I have submitted. Okay, so but some of my cases are not passed.
Yeah, tell your name, please.
Harsh Mithapara.
Harsh. Okay, wait a minute.
The same happening.
Harsh, I can only see this much code. Are you still coding it?
No, sir. I have already submitted it. My full code.
This is you, right? I mean,
yes, it's me. But that's not my whole code.
Okay,
I have
resubmitted it, right? Okay, wait. I will just refresh it.
can you check mine anytime?
Harsh, I think you should again resubmit because every time I'm getting the same code. Okay, please resubmit once. Oh, Abhishek, you want to say something?
Yeah, so can you please check mine fourth one? My three cases are test cases are only four.
Just a second. Yeah. Do you want to ask anything? I mean, it's okay, right? Same approach, same thing that I was talking that since one, yeah. Fourth one. Oh, sure. You are saying about the fourth one, right? Okay. Okay. So before moving to the fourth one, anyone else, any doubt in the third one? Do you want me to, I mean, code it up again? Same thing. There is nothing significantly different. Same thing. That you main idea is you have to, since you are taking each element from both the list one by one, so always you have to consider the list up, I mean the minimum length, right? Because if you go beyond that, then it would be an error. One list would continue, other would stop. So the loop which would copy this one by one, that should only run up to the minimum value of the, I mean minimum length list, the value up to which what is the value equal to the length of the smaller list. Right, that's why we are going over here. Same thing, C equal to min of AB. AB is basically the length of L1 and L2. So at first you run this loop to copy the elements which are there. Within the minimum range of the both the list. And then once that is done, there can be three possible scenarios. Either case one, when both the lists were actually of same size, and that's why both C and D would be equal. And that would also be equal to your A and B. All of them would be equal. So in that scenario, once this loop is over, there would be no other element left to copy. Correct? So everything would be over by then. But in case one of the list is larger in size, then you are doing this. If A is greater than B, then append L1. If B is greater than A, then append L2. Otherwise, you directly return L3. So this is otherwise is the case when none, I mean, when L1 and L2 were of equal size, and that's why all the appending would be over by the end of this loop. Fine. There is nothing else in this. Fourth question, we would then go.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So do we get code file after session?
After session, what?
Code file.
The solution, you mean?
Yes, sir.
No, solution we would not, I mean, it's, you can all see the approach and all that, right? So you can just code it up. So in the portal, you can submit up to the end of this month. Right? We would not give the solution after the month. After this month is over, we would release the solutions.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay.
If you want solution, then please replay the YouTube video.
Yeah, that is there. But see, that's why the basic idea of this session is that we see everyone's code, we discuss, we see a approach, we discuss that, right? So that is more important. And if there is a problem, if you want me to code it from scratch, then I would do it. If that's why I'm asking. If anyone is there who is not able to understand, we would code it from scratch. We would go a little bit slower in the initial days, and then we would, I assume that you all know a lot of things, and we would move a bit faster.
Yes.
So, okay, that's done. Fourth one, let's go. No one is asking anything. Yeah, Aditya, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Can you check my code for
Which
this
last
last last question? We are discussing the last question, right?
Yeah, the fourth one. Yeah.
No, I know. Means what needs to be improved in this, I know intuitively, but I have another doubt in this. Just we'll discuss.
In just a minute, let me see. Okay, Aditya, we would start the discussion after 3 minutes. Let everyone other also complete their work. Then we would discuss. Yeah.
So please show fifth problem.
Fifth problem, right? Fifth I've not published yet.
So that is what I am saying. Please publish.
Okay. Okay, so I have published 2 other problems, 5 and 6. Those who have completed up to 4th, you can go to 5th and 6th. Okay, so let's see the submissions.
Sir, can you please check my submission? Like, I have issues with 2 of my test cases.
Yeah, just a second, Varun. Okay, so Varun and Aditya. Okay, so let us see. So this is your code, right, Varun?
Yes, sir. This is my code.
Okay. So let's see. 6 DL. Taken the length flag equal to 0. So have you done the absolute difference? X2 minus X.
No, sir, not the absolute difference. Actually, my logic is that the number of flags should be 1 less than the length of the array.
That
Then
is
it will
I mean, the flag you are setting, if it is greater than, I understood that. But the issue is it should be always, I mean, you can do it in the either way, right? You should have the absolute ABS used. I mean, the absolute difference.
Okay, sir, I'll change.
Correct. You just change that. Flag, I understood that every time it is increasing, you are setting the, I mean, if every time the difference is an increasing order, you are setting the flag, increasing the flag by 1. And if your flag is less than 1 by the total size, then you are saying that that means every pair of difference was actually increasing. So correct? Am I correct?
Yes, sir, that's my
Yeah.
logic.
Yeah, fine. Just use the absolute difference. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Aditya. Aditya, I see that you have used, I'm not sharing the code, but I see that you have used sorting. So we are not asked. Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Yeah, so we are not asking you to sort it. Only thing you have to check whether it's increasing or not. So what are you? Yeah.
Sir, I would like to say something. So I know what is intuitively wrong in this code.
Okay.
That it has to be in strictly ascending order.
The difference, yeah.
So first of all, I would explain what I have done in this. First of all, I have created an empty list and added all of the absolute differences in that list. And here what I have used is, I have checked if that list is same as the sorted version of itself. Now, this should go wrong because in the sorted order, there can be an incident where an element is repeated, like the differences are 1, 3, 3, and 5. Even then, it would call it as true. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's not increasing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because of this reason, it should fail. This is what I get.
Correct.
And if I can improve by changing this sort to by writing another code. But my question is, it is failing this test case 4. Okay. And in that test case 4, if I look at the elements which are given in the test case 4, the list is 1, 3, 7, 2, and 9. So the absolute differences should be 2, 4, 5, and 7. So here there is no repetition, and despite of that, this test case is failing. So I want to know why is it so. And the same is for, I guess, test case 5. Again, there is no repetition as such. In test case 5, the differences are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So even here, it is in strictly ascending order. So this sorting mechanism should ideally give me the correct answer, but it is not. So can you elaborate?
Yeah, just a second.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Even I have changed the difference to absolute difference, but I don't find any change in the status of the test cases.
Okay. So then it would take. I would check the code then. Give me a minute then. Where is it is going wrong? So you are running the
Can you
loop.
check my code, sir?
Yeah, just a second.
Sir, mine is working if you want to. I mean,
Yeah, see, working. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that. But I think it would be better if we can solve the issue. That would be much better. Otherwise, also I can code it up. That is not an issue. So fine. Very so you are subtracting, appending.
So can we also see the code?
Yeah,
I mean, you can share the screen.
Yeah. Aditya, I think, see, you are checking after sorting whether it is equal to the previous list or not, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm not quite sure about this. I mean,
exactly. I mean, by test case, the only test scenario where this code should fail if there is a repetition of absolute values in that list that I have created. But in these test cases, there is no repetition. So ideally, it should work, right? You can share it to the other people as well.
Okay. Is this the code? This is the code, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Acha, in the meantime, can all of those whose code is actually working, can all of you raise your hand? I mean, if it is quite less, then I would code the thing. 5. And what is the submission here?
Sir, what is the problem here in this one? Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Sir, what is the problem in this one? Like what are we discussing here?
Yeah. So that's what I'm checking actually over here. Just a second. I'm just setting his fine then.
No, I want to ask what is the query of Aditya like?
Query of Aditya is why it is failing in this test case.
Yeah.
Right. But I think I'm not quite sure about the basic process. So you are subtracting that is fine. Then you are appending to the list the differences value, that is also fine. Then you are sorting the list in ascending order and then storing it into another list. Okay. And then you are checking whether it is equal to the same list which was earlier, the difference value. Correct?
Only if it was in ascending order, or rather it will be in ascending or equal to less, greater than or equal to order. In that case, they both will be same.
Yeah, that is
Sir, it should
okay.
be
But
B minus
if you
A,
see that,
absolute minus A instead of, sir.
Sorry, I mean
It
your
should
voice
be
is.
absolute B minus A, not A minus B.
Absolute value doesn't matter whether it is A minus B.
Okay, sorry.
You are using
Okay,
ABS,
okay,
right?
okay.
So yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So if it is increasing in that sense, it doesn't matter whether if you use absolute. Okay, so if it is sort, so
So can we check what X is? I mean, like, let's take some input in the console.
no,
Maybe.
not that. I'm just checking the. I'm just checking the this input. Just a second. So it is 9 minus 10 is 1. Minus
So
2.
sorting we have duplicates.
It is should be true. Yeah, see here it is not, there is no duplicate, right?
Exactly. There is no duplicate, and despite of that, it is failing. That's
Yeah, I understood. I understood that, but the only thing is that even if you see the test case over here, 13729.
Sorting. Can we check once, like by taking some input, like what X is?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let me just print it.
Yeah, so let's just print X.
But the problem is every time I print it, it would not keep the list. So
Aditya, can you copy paste your code in chat box?
Sorry, what?
Can you copy paste your code in chat box
Yeah, sure.
so that we will also talk?
Just give me a minute because I'm running this on the PC and
one small thing, just I want to clarify that if someone has the basic understanding of the code, if anyone has doubt how to solve it in normal approach, we can discuss that first. That is also possible. If someone has doubt in the basic approach, then we can discuss that. Otherwise, we will check this out, that where there is offering. Fine.
so the output is correct, right, sir? It is in the ascending order, and yet it is printing false.
The value of X is coming none.
That's what I'm saying. After you sort it, it's coming none. See, if you are doing sort, then K is getting sorted.
Yes, sorted of K will return. K is itself sorted now.
K is itself sorted, not X.
Sorted of K will work.
First you have to
So
copy
I'll have
K
to maybe
and then sort X.
make another variable and take it as store that K somehow.
Yeah, just use sorted, put K in it, and then put that value into X.
K is parameter, sorted is function.
I can change this. I got it. Wait.
Right, just do that.
This will update K also. Type K dot copy.
See, the problem is once you do sort, it would also change K. So you are not getting that equality check. This is not happening properly in that scenario.
Yeah, K and X are both getting.
So actually, sort does not return anything. It returns none.
It only sorts the array itself on which, the list itself on which it is being called. So yeah. See, Aditya, are you changing the code? I mean, or do you want?
Sir.
Yeah, see, m equal to K is fine. And then if you want to do the modification, as soon as you K dot sort, so m equal to X. This line you do not need. Why you are storing it X equal to?
Yeah, I got it. I mean, I just did not change it. I know it is not necessary, but I'm saying that this is still not working. See, right now I stored it into M. So now M definitely shouldn't change even if I sort K.
Your code, check the 17th and 18th line. You have to change that.
Sir, there is a concept of copy and deep copy. The thing is here, when I am copying the list, it is again sorting the M also.
M will be updated. Like put K dot copy.
These two, so these two, when you're copying it, once you sort it, K is getting sorted, and then you are checking with M, right? So so it is actually the same thing. It's, I mean, pointing to the same area.
Okay, it is again the same thing, even if I store it into another variable.
Yeah, you want to see that? Just print the value of M.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, this was taught in another lecture in Python that it sorted. Yeah.
Say?
How to go about this then? As in, if I want to go by this method and I want to store that
you can do one by one copy, na? Just take make a loop for I in K, copy it to M. That's it.
But he can use the sorted function. Sorted K.
Yeah, that's what I was initially saying. Use sorted, call K, and then store that value into X, and then you do the copy. Sorted does not sort the array itself, I mean the list itself. It returns a sorted list. So you can use sorted. That is also there. Or what you can do is, if you want to use this approach only by copying, then you have to run a loop for I equal to I in K.
Yeah, and then add it into another list.
And then you can check it, right?
Without doing that also, you can put M equal to K dot copy, and then it will not update M when we update K.
What I have to put? M is equal
dot copy is a deep copy?
I think so. I tried.
I'm not sure about it.
Yes. And parenthesis.
Let me just print after you sort, right? Remove this is meaningless. K dot sort. Right, let print M and print K. I just want to check whether K is
Aditya, you have to put parenthesis after copy.
Yeah, sir is writing the code.
Okay.
No, I'm just checking that whether M dot this sort function is a deep copy or shallow copy. That's it. Sorry, it's not sort function, the copy function.
Copy is function call.
Yeah. Missed that. Sort MK.
No, it is not. I don't think, right? It is still changing for both of them, right?
Both of them it's changing. It's not deep copy, it's still shallow copy. So I think what you can do is simply run the loop now.
Yeah, I can do that. And what was the another function, sir? Sort K is equal to sorted of K. Was it like that?
Yeah, you can check the documentation once. What I remember is sorted just returns the sorted array. I mean the list, right?
Sorted is a free function. That's why it takes parameter as a list.
And then returns the sorted
version of it. Newer version. It does not change original.
Yeah, so it should be if K is equal to sorted of K.
No. X equal to sorted of K. And then compare X and K.
Yeah.
X will be another copy of sorted version of K. So X equal to sorted K, compare X and K and you will get the answer.
Okay. I got it.
Just keep it in another,
Sir, K is equal to sorted K, you have written.
Okay. X is, I have to take, now these two passed and the other three failed. So I have to take X. X is equal to sorted K, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
X equal to sorted K. And on line number 12,
you have to write K equal to X.
Compare it with X. K double equal X.
Compare it with X, huh?
Yes.
But it is the same thing, right? What I wrote earlier.
Now, which one?
The earlier I had just written, it is happening the same thing. I had earlier written K is equal to sorted of K.
Okay. You directly, you escaped the middle variable. Okay.
You mean the if you write directly X dot sorted here, sorted K here, right? Yeah, that is same.
Yeah, but now the upper three cases are failing, and these two pass.
Okay, yeah.
-3 should not come. Why -3?
See, here also it's happening the same thing.
Yeah, but now these two cases are still saying pass.
See, now the problem, wait, let me just confirm one thing. So here the difference was actually increasing, right?
Yes.
What was the last one? 7 minus 4, 3. So let's have something which is lesser. Let's have it 1, not 1, sorry, 3. Fine. Okay, so the sorted list is not equal to k. Okay. So here your code is returning false rightfully because it is false. It's not increasing. That is okay. But if I do it something else, what was the test case over here?
The other 3 test cases.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'm again repeating, if someone has doubt in the basic approach of solving this code, they can point out, we can discuss that then. Basic approach is nothing. You would take each successive element, find the difference, and check whether that difference is greater than the previous difference. That's it. Simple. I mean, I see a lot of you have raised hand. I mean, do you want to say something? You can unmute and tell while we are doing this.
So this method is still printing both of them as same.
But if the difference is 2, 4, 5 and 5, right? Yeah. So it's anyway 2, 4, 5, 5.
So this is now going wrong because it is
because it is equal to that thing.
Yeah, because of that ascending order thing.
Yeah, so that now it is happening because of that equal to issue, but other way around, these two is solved. So yeah, so if I take this case also.
But sir, even in the test case 1, there's a difference is 2, 4 and 3. So
no, not test case 1, different test, test case, this one, right? 2, 4 and 3,
Yes, so it should be 2, 3, 4, right?
So if I copy paste it, let us see the state of the array. Just a second.
Just last element should be 10. 1, 3, 7, 10. Now this is giving false output, right? But why is it showing that actual output is true?
Okay, just a second. 3, 1, 2. 5 and 4 are failing.
I think it has something to do with if k is equal to x block, sir, because if it is printing true, it means that that box got executed, right? If k is equal to x, line number 13 and 14.
Just a second. So 7, right? 2, 4, 5, 7. Both of these are okay. So it's increasing only. It should be true, and you are also writing true. Are you making any change? I mean, I just see that it's.
No, sir, I haven't made any change.
5 is working. Again, now 1 and 3 is not working. Okay, fine.
Sir,
Anyway.
does that like the
Let
L
me-
you are
now
writing in line 20, does it like
that is fine. That is fine. What I was checking is whether the logic is working for each test case or not. Let us see. I hope it is working.
the print statement also?
Yeah. What are you saying? Something?
Yeah, I was saying for test case 3, it won't work. That we can accept. That is because there is a repetition and duplicate.
Yeah. No. I think I got that. That was the thing that I was checking. So that is fine. But other
also,
test cases were working now. I saw that, right?
Also, sir, this raises another question. If this code should not work whenever there are duplicates, then in the earlier version, it was actually working, right? The only 4 and 5 are failing and 1, 3, and 2 are actually passing. So even
Earlier
that
version, it was the same, right? So it was every time the sorted array was also referring to the same area. So all the true cases were getting correct because it is always.
Yeah.
Remember,
Okay.
both the arrays were same, right? So every time the answer is actually true, your code was returning true. Right? Fine. So yes, I think some girl was saying something. I missed that while I was saying. I did not observe your name.
No. I was just saying the print statement to remove the print statement only, like to check tag.
Okay. So now 2 cases would fail most. Okay, I am thinking about it. Yeah. These 2 cases where there is a repetition of the value, those 2 are failing. Fine. Okay. Now let me again just confirm this. Anyone wants to see the basic approach? I mean, here the issue was only that because the equality it's not working, and the other thing was that both x and k were getting stored in the same location because of shallow copy. Now that is okay, but anyone has doubt in the basic, because I see many cases, many submissions are actually correct. So if you have any doubt, then I would again code it from scratch.
Just I wanted to show my code actually. No.
Okay. So before going into individual code analysis, let me just again ask once more. Then we would go for the code of each one of you. So anyone wants to have a basic discussion on the way you will solve this problem? Still, I'm saying what you have to do is simply run a loop, right? And do the absolute difference between the two consecutive items in that loop for I in the list, right? And then write ABS list I minus list I minus 1, right? And then store it in a value. And every time you run the loop, just compare the next difference, whether it is greater than the previous difference or not. Just like that. Like the way you find maximum element in a list, similarly, same thing, here you have to find the maximum difference. So just keep the maximum difference in a variable and treat that variable as the where you have to find the minimum variable. That's it. 5-6 lines of code.
Hello.
Anyone has doubt? You can ask.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you check my submission, sir? All cases are passed.
Yeah. Submission I would check. We would discuss. But I'm just asking if someone is not able to understand the basic of it and wants to do the code from scratch. Otherwise, we would move to the submission. Because we spent a fair amount in discussing solutions, right? So yeah. Please don't feel bad if someone wants to discuss from scratch. That's okay. We would discuss. Just unmute and tell that. Okay, fine. Yeah. So who was telling your code?
For me, sir, Aman.
Okay. Aman. Wait. Okay, since the basic ideas are clear, so if someone of you are having any other live session or any other work, then and you are confident about the questions, then you can leave if you want, because it's already time. But if you want to stay and discuss some codes, then you are welcome. Yeah. Or if you have any doubt, you can ask now also.
Sir, can you look in my code? My name is Kunal Kumar.
What I did not get, can you repeat?
Sir, can you look in my code? My name is
Yeah,
Kunal Kumar.
Aman said first, right? So let's look that, then we will go. If you have any other doubt, then you can ask. Yeah. Basic doubt, I mean from scratch if you want to discuss. Okay, Aman's code is this the code, Aman?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So this is fourth one, right? Yeah. And then you are appending it to another list. And then you sorted same approach, right? And then what you are doing for I in range.
Just to see if there are any duplicates. If there are
Yeah.
duplicates, return false and then
Yeah,
break.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, same approach. Yeah, just you have solved that bug.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. The same thing. Yeah. Okay, so who was next? Who was saying?
Sir, Kunal Kumar.
Kunal. Those who have doubt, I mean, where the test cases are not passing, if some of you have test cases like that, then it would be better if you ask. Kunal, I'm not getting your submission. Can you resubmit?
Sir?
Yeah, hello?
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, Aditya, right?
Akshat, sir.
Oh, Akshat, yeah.
Sir, in the fourth question, I have stored the difference, absolute difference between L of I and L of I minus 1.
Just a second, Akshat. Let me go to your code first.
So I have not submitted because two of the test cases have failed. That's why I have not submitted it.
That's fine, no issues. That's okay, you submit it.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, I will not be able to see your code now.
Sir, I submitted the code. This is Kunal Kumar.
Just a second. This is your code, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, so difference equal to ABS. Okay, you are running up to the last. Okay, Li minus 1, then. No, okay. So if you are checking this in the same iteration of the loop, now, I mean, see, the problem over here is you are assigning difference equal to the difference between the current I index value and the previous element. And within the same iteration, again, you are checking for the ABS value of L plus 1. You do not need to do that, right? Just keep the value in difference and check whether difference is greater than that value or not every time. What I mean is, wait, you do not have to do this L plus 1 I and the same difference value in each iteration for the for loop. In the next iteration, already this would be checked. Are you getting the point? What I want to say? Wait, let me just.
So please repeat.
Yeah, wait. I'm just. See, here you have I is the current index, right? So let's say I equal to initially I equal to 1. Let's say, right? First of all, here it is you are starting I, and initially the value of I would be 0, correct? So what is this value? Li would be L0, but what is this value? 0 of minus 1. It is the last element. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So what is happening over here? You are subtracting L0 minus L of minus 1, which is the last element. Are we doing that? I mean, we are asking you to check for successive difference, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so first of all, you have to change that, but that is not the only problem over here. The other problem is, if you store this li minus 1 first in difference, and in the same loop again you are checking, it's unnecessary for this li plus 1. You just have the first difference, store it over here, and compare it with the previous value in the loop. Getting the point? What I want to say?
So what would be the change in the fifth line?
Okay, wait. So first of all, you at first change this value for I range, this error you change, right? And then you again come back, then I would change these problems, correct?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Let someone else was also there. I have to see that.
Yes,
Yeah, who was saying?
Kunal Kumar.
Have you submitted once at least?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wait. Fourth problem, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not getting your name. Please resubmit once.
Can you check mine, Abhishek?
Sir, I have submitted again.
Wait, it's Kunal, right? Kunal?
Yes, sir.
Wait, I'm showing you. I'm not getting. Yeah, other one was Abhishek, right? You said?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Abhishek Gupta, yeah. Abhishek, yeah, got it. Is this your code, Abhishek?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, again see the same, you are doing it from 1, so fine, and up to going to L. Okay, then subtracting the difference, copying it into D. If ABS of L plus 1, the same approach. See, every time you do the comparison in the same loop, now you are losing out on the previous value of the difference, so you cannot compare it. I mean, okay, so this is just the same issue as like the previous code, right? So once he finishes, we will discuss this. Just a second.
I'm taking the difference.
Yes, sir, you can search for my email ID if it's possible. 21F10994.
Just a second, Kunal. Yeah, what were you saying, Abhishek?
At line number 5, I'm taking that difference, particular difference, right?
So what you are doing here, you are actually checking Li and Li minus 1, right? The previous element, storing it in the difference. And then again, you are checking whether the next element and Li, that difference is lesser or not. right? The successive difference. If that is lesser, then you are setting false and breaking away. Correct. Now, what will happen in the next iteration if you go? What would be this value? The previous I plus 1 value, right? Right? And then you are subtracting again I minus 1. That is the previous ith value. So that would be stored in this difference. Correct. Now you already once checked that. First of all, this difference value, you are copying it over here and then checking the same thing. Okay, I will just tell you, it's getting confusing that way. Once he finishes, we would make the change. Just a minute. In the meantime, Kunal, have you submitted?
Yes, sir. So you can search by email, sir.
Yeah, just a second.
I've pasted in the chat.
We would come back. Just a second. I'm not closing it, Abhishek. Where was my window? See, Kunal.
Sir, you can type my email or sir. Sir, I have mentioned my user ID, IITMKK.
IITMKK, okay.
Sir, I've counted most of the parts, sir. I'm having problem.
Yeah. What are you?
Sir, the problem I'm having is, sir, when I'm in the for loop, it's checking the condition, and if the condition is true, then we assign the flag false and return the flag. But sir, if I put an else case in the for loop, I'm not getting the same result, sir. I'm not getting the flag bool equal to true, and I'm returning a flag. It's not coming true, sir. Can you tell me, sir, why?
Now, just a second. Absolute value. Okay. See, okay, so let me just run it and show you. 13729. Where is your for getting over here, right? When the next
Sir,
element
the
gets,
basic
you are setting
idea
the
was I
flag
want
equal
to
to false.
assign
Okay. Yeah, tell.
Sir, my
Hello?
Yes, sir. My basic prototype was to assign a flag equal to true. And in the for loop, if the condition met, I will assign the flag equal to false and return the flag. And if the condition doesn't met, I will else return the flag that is equal to true. But sir, when I did it, I only passed the fourth and fifth case, but not 1, 3, and 2. So it's just the complementary of the result that I'm getting. If I change the flag equal to true and I put an else case.
No, I did not get. When did you pass the fourth and fifth case?
Sir, I changed the flag equal to true, and when I try to return the I put an else condition and try to.
Acha. So.
My basic idea was to keep it always true, and when this condition met, I will just keep the flag, assign the flag to false, and return the flag, as the flag will be always true. So that was the idea. Whenever this condition met, L of I plus 1 minus Li greater than L of I plus 2, so we assign the flag to false and return the flag. Else, return the flag that is equal to flag equal to true.
So see, when you are actually doing this length L minus 3, right?
Yes, sir.
So that you don't go out of index of the, in the list.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing that I was telling, that over there also, when you are checking it for the same value, for the next iteration, what is your basis for that value? How can you guarantee that the previous difference, where are you storing the previous difference in the next iteration? Got it? So other two codes also, which we were discussing in the past, the other two guy, I think Vinay, or forgot the name, Abhishek, yeah. So
I'm checking if the previous difference is the smaller, greater, or if it's greater, I'm returning false.
But that is always pairwise happening, na? Try to understand this. I am telling that overall difference must increase one by one. Here what's happening is you are always checking between the adjacent difference, whether the adjacent difference is greater or not. Again, whether the adjacent difference is greater or not. Correct. But what we have to check is whether among all the successive differences that is increasing order or not. Try to understand this. The previous code also same logic. When you are doing like this, see, just tell me over here, I'm just writing pseudocode. How do you find a maximum element in a list? For I in, let's say L is a list. Okay. Suppose, let's say L is a list, right? How do you find the maximum element in the list? Just tell me the code.
I create a maximum variable, initialize it to 0, and I keep checking if the number is greater than, and I reassigning the number to that.
At first, where do you have to first assign it outside, right? Max equal to something.
Max equal to 0.
The minimum value, so that every number is greater than that number. So assuming we are only considering positive.
Yes, sir. And I will keep updating if the number is greater. So the number max equal to max equal to I.
Exactly. So every time you are comparing that.
L of I.
Yeah. So if my list L of I, sorry, not L of I. If my I is greater than max, right? What I would make max equal to I.
Max
correct?
Equal to L of. Yes.
Correct. So what are we achieving by doing this? What is the difference between this and this? Try to understand it. What is the difference between this and this? If I write whether I is greater than I plus 1. I plus 1 is only you are comparing the successive pairs. Once you right, it is not related with some other pair that may occur later. Every time you have to store the value that you have obtained, that in this code the difference, store that difference in a variable, and in the next iteration of the loop, check whether the current difference is lesser than the previous difference, greater than the previous difference or not. That is not happening. Here in all these codes and the previous two also, you are only checking for successive pairs. All you have to do is find the maximum difference, right? Every time, just compare that. Store it in a max value. If the next difference is greater, store again that in the max value or break. If the next difference is not greater, then you do the flag equal to false and break away. Right? So what I mean is, just a second. Yeah, someone else was also want to say something. Please go ahead.
Basically, we need two differences, right? Previous one and the current one, and we are comparing whether they are basically greater than each other.
Exactly. You are doing that successively. We have to find the maximum difference overall the array. That should be increasing order. So if you are not storing that into a max variable, then this is just a comparison between the two adjacent pairs. Got the point?
Yeah.
The previous two code of Abhishek, and that's what I was saying, Abhishek and another one, right? I forgot. I think I missed your recall. some other code was also there, which was in the same
Yes,
loop.
sir.
You are checking I plus 1 and I minus 1. Remember, same thing. So the idea is if you are doing that, you are only checking difference between two successive pairs. But what we want is you have to store that difference just like that. You have to simply do the maximum logic. My God.
Sir, I have resubmitted my code. There is some problem of returning true value. Can you just check it? My name is Akshat Agarwal.
Just a second, Akshat. Let me just finish this. So let's say over here, what is happening over here? Every time you are comparing between successive pairs, first pair is I minus 1 and second is I plus 1 and I. How can you compare the next difference? Try to understand this. What about the difference about the next set of pairs corresponding to this difference? Right. So you are not storing that so as to compare the difference in the next step. Right. If I ask you to write the difference between max, I mean to find the max, you would not get a proper result by doing something like this. If sorry, not I. Yeah, I greater than I minus 1 you do, and let's say here also you check I plus 1 minus I. Right. So if you approach by using if condition by these two statements, right? Use if and check if this is greater and this is greater. Do you think you will get the maximum element after traversing the array? Right. So same problem over here. You have to store the difference in a max variable and then go ahead. I mean, then check whether the next difference is greater or not. So what I mean is, if I write it over here, let me go to the, let's just write the code directly for this. Problem 4, right? Yeah. So we have the list. All you have to do is, so what is the name? Expanding. Let's say I receive the list over here. Oh. Fine. So first of all, you would check the length criteria. If length of my list L, if it is obviously lesser than or let's say even equal to 2 also, then there is no meaning of going further because every time it is only 1 point of difference. So there is no question of checking. So we would directly return true. Fine. That's done. And if it is not the case, now see, just in your mind, keep in your mind the function, the way you did max checking, right? Find the max element. What do? You have the max value, I mean initialize the max variable with something, right? The only difference here is you have to check the max difference. That's it. Fine. So I would initialize the max, the variable which you used in max, something like that. So let's call that difference. The initial difference, I have to make it some smaller value. So let's take the trivial one and its absolute difference. So take like this. Let's take the difference between the first element and the zeroth, I mean the first and second elements only. No issue. If it is greater, then it would always be greater. If it is smaller, then that would be replaced by the second maximum. So no problem in that. So I store that. Now I would just simply run a loop and check for successive difference. Simply run the loop from 2 to so here I would go to the end, right? We are not checking for lesser elements. So length of L. right? Yeah. Okay. Now see, at first I would calculate the current difference of the ith pair. I mean the I and I minus 1, assuming, right? I would just take that thing, take that difference. Assuming I'm starting from 2, right? So the previous element would be 1, like that. So I take the new, the difference, one difference variable, the current difference, which I call the current difference, right? The current difference variable, which is equal to my current iteration, which is my L of I minus 1 minus L of I. So anything, you can do it I or I minus 1, ABS, since it's absolute, it doesn't matter. Basically the current pair. I store that into my current difference. Now what I told you, that you have to check if the current difference is greater than the previous difference or not. So this is where it's getting, I have the variable to check whether the previous value is same or not. That's the only problem in your code. You are checking pairwise. We have to store the value, and then in the next iteration we have to check. So here I would use this difference, the initial value which was there, and then I would modify. Just see the code. What happens if I just current difference, right? If my current difference is greater, right, then I would proceed. Or if my current difference is smaller, then I would directly break off, right? So if my current difference is smaller or even equal to, in that case, so what I would do is I would break off from the program. If current difference is lesser than equal to my difference value, which was initial difference, then I would, okay, let's return directly. Done. So in this case, I would break off. If that is not the case, then that means my current difference is greater than the previous value, right? So if it is greater, that means my list is up to this point, my list is actually increasing. The difference value is actually increasing. So what I have to do, whenever you check for max, what do you do? If I is greater than max, max equal to I. Remember, you just update the variable. Same thing. Just update the initial variable, that is diff, with the new difference, which is the greater one currently. Got it? And then you just come out of the loop and return the value. If you go out, then you would obviously return true, right? Because otherwise it would have returned false if at any point it would have failed. So getting the same, if you just compare it with max method, right, finding maximum, you do the same thing. You check if it is lesser, you break off, or you can just state it in the other way. If it is greater, you remove all that, you simply paste it over there. Okay, or else you continue. You have to change this line. So same thing. Only point is, once you are comparing I plus 1 minus I and I minus I plus 1 within the same iteration of the loop, that comparison of difference is happening between two successive pairs, and that has nothing to do with the next comparison of successive pairs. Okay, so that you will not get proper result. You have to store every successive difference and check in the next iteration whether the previous difference was greater or lesser. If the previous difference is lesser, then you are with good. It's okay. If it is greater, then you will simply return false, right? So because you have to check between all the difference in the list, not the successive pairs. Is the idea clear? Could I communicate it, or you have any argument? Any?
No, yes, sir.
Got it, right? Okay, fine. Okay, then these 4 problems we discussed, and you have okay. Anyway, so you have 2 more problems. Live coding 5 and live coding 6. Those are there on the portal. You all can go there and practice till the end of the month. If you come into any doubt within those questions, then certainly post on discourse. We will reply as fast as possible. Fine. And also, I don't think he is present, but if you are present who questioned about compiler and interpreter, please make that post on the discourse. We would reply. Fine. Yeah. Someone wants to say something? Go ahead.
Sir, in the same problem, I have corrected the code, but where I should return, it should return a true value. It's not returning. It's returning the false value correctly.
Akshat, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is it working? I mean,
sir, only the test cases where it should return the false value. It's returning false value, but it's not returning a true value.
Okay, Akshat, let me tell you one thing. So since you have submitted, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I would check your code and I would maybe on discourse or mail I would send you, right? If there is some
okay, sir.
Comment, right?
Okay, sir. All right, sir.
Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Fine. So again, I'm just asking one last time. The last question, the problem, since many of you had the same approach and that had the same issue that we were discussing. So is the last problem cleared? I mean, all of you are satisfied that why it was problematic? Because we are not checking the difference all along among all the pairs, right? You have to find the max difference. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Could you make me as well? I was away from this meeting.
Aditya, you are not audible clearly. I'm getting a lot of noise.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was away from minutes now. In case you are able to know what went wrong in my code that we were working out on, then could you mail me?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. All you have to do is just store the difference in a variable that you are doing the I minus 1 and do not do that plus thing in the same. I mean, it's not required. Just compare the difference successively. That's it. I would, if you want, I would make the change and send you. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually exited from the meeting. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there is a little difference in your voice. Okay. Anyways, fine, Aditya.
So will this problem remain active on Rapid after you leave?
It would be there on the portal. You can do over there.
Portal, where on the portal? There's the code shape problem.
No, not code shape. The normal, the course portal.
Okay. So you will post it, right?
Yeah. I think it is live now. Is it not live? Can someone just confirm? I'm also checking. Just a second. It should have. Yeah. See, go to the live coding. You will see 6 problems.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, you can submit there. I mean, at the end of this any day. Okay. Sorry, not end of day, end of month. Yeah. Fine.